Hi guys. So I'm sitting here waiting to pick up my daughter from work, and I wanted to tell this story because I don't know who might need to hear it. As you can tell by the title, Blessed by a Stranger. So I lived in a motel. I lived in a motel twice. And I was at this motel and I had a car. I had a Grand Marquis. I've had a Grand Marquis twice. Big old boat. And I went to the grocery store because I had a fridge in my hotel and a microwave. And so went to the store up the street and got a bunch of groceries for my daughter and I. And at the light, my car broke down. And so some men got out and helped push my car off to the side. And I was trying to remember. I don't know how my car got down. There was a subdivision that was close by the grocery store. And I don't know how my car got over there. I don't know if we moved it, towed it, pushed it. No, we didn't tow it. We would have towed it to the motel. Anyway, somehow it was in front of this woman's house. I had ended up getting a ride from someone to the motel with my groceries and everything, but my car was broke down in front of this lady's house. And so I called my cousin in Detroit, and he was, matter of fact, I don't know if I called him or he called me. He might have called to check on me. And I said, my car broke down. Mind you, too, this was like bad time. Like, I was down to $20 in my pocket. And I forget how much it cost for me to stay at that motel. They gave me a discount because I was there for a little while. But it costs, quite a bit of money. And I think about that sometimes. I'm like, so much money down the drain just to be in a motel. But I had like $20 to my name at this point. And I didn't know it was almost time for me to pay again on the motel. I was just like, sorry, my stomach is growling. And I was just like down and out. And so my cousin, he was like, I'm going to come up there and check and, excuse me. I'm going to come in there and come out there, sorry, and check on your car. I feel like I need to sneeze. I'm sorry, y'all. And so he came up. I want to say he came up with his girlfriend at the time. But yeah, he came up and he didn't know my whole situation. He knew like semi what was going on, but I hadn't told him everything because it was embarrassing. It was a lot going on. He was just trying to make sure I got my car back. And at the time too, I didn't have a job. This is what they don't talk about when you're a single parent, when you're doing this by yourself, because there was no one to watch my kid while I went to search for a job. I couldn't take her to, I think she might have been in kindergarten at the time, but there was no job that would work around my schedule to be able to take her to school and pick her up. So that was a big ordeal of me trying to find a job. It's like, you got to be here at such and such time. You got to stay here till such and such time. And my mom had a job. Everyone was working. So a lot of times when you see these single moms, you're like, why don't they do this? Why don't they do that? You don't know their situation, but everybody doesn't have a ton of help either. So you have to understand, some people are out here literally on their own with their children. So my cousin came out and he's fixing the car. And me and his girlfriend went somewhere in their car. I don't know if we ran somewhere. We did something. But the house that the car was in front of, the woman and her husband had came out. And they were kind of just like talking to my cousin, asking him what was going on. Did he need any help? Yada, yada. And they were really nice people, And so I guess when I left for a little bit, my cousin was talking to the wife and was telling her, my cousin's just falling on hard times. And now her car just broke down. And I'm just trying to get her wheels back. And the lady was like, oh, and so when we got back, the lady asked to speak to me. So I went up to the house. I'm trying to tell this story without crying because now I haven't really told this story or talked about it in a long time, but So I went up to the house and she asked if she could pray over me. And I was like, you know, sure, yeah. Because I was still, back then I had a church home and I had been going to church every Sunday with my mom. My mom would sometimes just come get us and we would ride with her and everything. So I was like, yeah, you know, I need it right now. I'm trying to figure all this out. And so she prayed over me. And then she said, here, she grabbed my hand and she handed me $600. When I tell you, there was just like tears streaming down my face because my cousin didn't know anything about me having just $20. Like, there was no way of her knowing this, that I had no money and that I was about to have to leave this motel, didn't know where I was going. And she handed me that money and I was just like, I was just standing there bawling and I couldn't even say anything. I, of course, said thank you. And she was just hugging me and she was like, I've been in your position before. And she was like, I always said if I ever saw any woman and I could help them, I would. And that $600 got me through. But I wanted to tell this story because you have to keep going. Sometimes your blessing will come from a stranger. I have been blessed by, I have stories for days about strangers blessing me left and right. That's why sometimes when I get upset, I have to check myself because I'm like, God has thrown people in my world all the time, strangers all the time, looking out for me. And you have to just keep fighting every day. You have to just keep fighting. You could be you might think it's your lowest, but the next day you can meet a stranger who gives you $600 when you literally had $20 to your name. And I hate that I don't remember what street she lived on. I remember the neighborhood because I always wanted to go back there. And I don't even know if the lady and her husband still live there. I think she said all her kids were grown. But yeah, I just remember that moment. And I remember when I went and got in the car, my cousin had fixed my car. And I told him, you know, I was literally down to $20. And he's like, what? And I'm like, this lady just gave me $600. He was just like in disbelief, like, what? So just know that sometimes your blessing is going to come from a stranger. Not everybody's all bad. Not everybody's out to hurt you. Some people have been through things and they want to help. And I'm one of those people. When I get to the point where I can help other people, especially women and children, single parents, let me just tell you, I'm going to start a whole thing to help single moms because I know I've been through so much as a single parent before having her and after. And I know how hard life can be. But I just want to get on here and tell that story. I hope it reaches whoever it needs to reach, to tell you to just keep pushing and know that sometimes the blessing is from a stranger. Hit like if you guys like this video, and I'll see you guys next time.